The retail training ROI formula. You're probably asking yourself, how do I know if my training works? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video, so let's get going. So what I'm going to be talking about today is how behavior is what makes consistency in your customer service, how your employees determine that by what resources you're giving them, and more importantly, if you're a cheapskate and you don't think that you can afford employee training and you're looking for an exact number and you think it's too much money, well, I got some news for you. You're going to struggle for a long time to come. Unless you don't want me to be blunt and you want me to pad this a little bit and say, oh, we'll all be great. No, it's going to be work. So buckle down, let's go for it. You know, training by itself doesn't mean anything. If you take it apart from what you're trying to do, it's a cost. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. How much am I going to have to pay this boatload of money for those employees? What if I train them and they leave? And I always say, well, what if you don't train them and they stay? That's why you're in the situation you're in. Because the good ones want to do a good job. They follow a framework, they want to succeed, and if they aren't rewarded with it, or they're having to work with people who don't respect that, then they're going to leave. So what's the high cost of not training? Well, it's the ROI of turnover. You know, the average employee for each one you lose was about $2,500 in the making. Yeah, that's a lot. And if you're training people every 2 or 3 months, it's exponentially a cost much greater than anything you do with training. What about the sales that were missed? How many sales walked out your front doors? Because the problem is that doesn't show up on your P&L. That shows up in your sales. So unless you're really looking at it, someone's watching, my gosh, there's no bags going out the doors. Or you're hearing, you have such a lovely store here. I'll be back. I never want to hear that because they were a visitor to our planet. And our planet needs to be explored and it needs a guide. Does that make sense? You know, when I walk into a sporting goods store, I know, hard to believe, a massive hunk like me is not a natural in every sporting goods that they have. So I might need to have someone explain to me the differences between a Kevlar hockey stick and bamboo. Or if you buy the cheaper one, what does that do to performance? I don't know, I'm a visitor here. If you just take that attitude that you're on another planet and we have to teach people the norms of our ways and how things work, then you might have greater respect for the customer isn't just going to get it when they walk in. And if they don't get it, they're not going to raise their hand and say, excuse me, I feel stupid here. And then they never forget how you made them feel. So even though you may have some signage, it might be signage that 20% off this weekend only, friends and family, buy our loyalty cards, whatever it's going to be. You're missing it. So in the lack of clarity of what your offering is, that's costing you something too. Now let's take the other side. What's the ROI? Let's just say that you pay $100 a month for training for each of your employees. That's a lot of money. Okay, what's your average sale? $4. Okay, so do you think you can make 25 extra sales in a month from that one employee? No. Well, then you're probably not going to pay that, huh? But what if your average sale is $100? If they made one extra sale in 30 days, do you think that's possible? Yes, I do. What if it's $1,000? Do you think that they could influence one person 10% more and make one extra sale? I do. But we don't do that. We still look at this bundle of money just waiting there, going off to something that's smoke. And the reason why your training is smoke is because it's not reinforced. People don't understand it. Or maybe you had your best salesperson just wing it. Let's just make some videos. We'll get some videos up in our learning library. Oh, does anyone look at them? Well, not really. Well, what are they? And then I look at it and some guy's talking about how, well, you know, when people are looking at this, I always mention that and it always closes down. I get them to buy right away. Yeah, well, that works for that guy. That's not training. That's like riffing. You know, like, hey, what do you think of that? Or this? It's not a system. A system is a framework. Think of a framework like you're learning how to ride a bike. You first have to understand what a bike does. There are 2 wheels, they have to go around. You have to make it go around. Oh, okay. You have to balance yourself up on the seat. Oh, okay, that's hard because there's nothing to hold on to. So at first we're going to give you training wheels, and then as you push off, we're going to hold it a little bit to make sure you're there, right? Oh, okay, great. There's a system. Would you give your 4-year-old daughter a bike with no training wheels? Sit her on it and say, pedal? I don't think so. And yet, you have $1 million of merchandise in the store. You hire someone with an interview that's maybe 10 minutes. that they made it through all your AI sifting, and you said, great, you're in it. You've given them the keys to this, and you haven't given them any training or what success looks like. And so when you're looking at the ROI, it's nothing if it's not practiced. It's nothing if it's not mastered, and it's nothing if it's not coached. Beyond that, in a retail store, we have a mechanism that really helps us, which is mystery shopping. Now, do you remember for a while there were like emails that came out, anyone can be a mystery shopper for $10, you can be a mystery shopper. Like, I don't want those are not mystery shoppers, I don't know what those are. In fact, I had a client of mine who had a large group of flooring stores, about 500 or 600 across the USA, and he hired a mystery shopping company, and he's a passionate business owner, read every one, and he said, there's no way that was in my store, not at that location. What do you mean? It's like, we don't even have that. So he got burned on mystery shops. I said, dude, use mine. Mine run about $75 to $100, depending on the location, for one shop. That's another boatload of money, Bob. You're just trying to make, hey, if you want to get better, you're going to have to pay experts. I'm an expert. I'm not some guy with a thought. I'm not some guy who's looking to make money on YouTube, and I'm just going to get a lot of likes, although my thumbnails look kind of creepy because they're trying to get your attention. But once you're in here, all I care about is you being successful, but not nearly as much as if you paid me money as a client. And one of the things I've discovered as an expert is that if you don't inspect what you expect, you're going to settle. So a mystery shop from my company is there's a checklist, the first page where you have to check things off. Yeah, did they say good morning, good afternoon, good evening? Did they say this? What did they say when you said that? They have to fill a few things in. But what counts is a narrative at the bottom. At 4:42, I walked in the store, and there were 2 employees helping a customer and 2 over behind the counter talking loudly. I walked around for 3 minutes before someone said anything. Finally, no one did, and I walked up and I said, can you help me? And they said, in a minute. And I waited around and I asked a question, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I would love to say our mystery shops come back amazing. I wish they were all amazing, but they aren't. A mystery shop is a moment in time, right? It is like a stopped clock. It happens twice a day, it's right. Doesn't mean that it's perfect for the whole store if you get it 100%. Doesn't mean they're terrible if they get a low score. But if you get 3 in a month, that tells you what your training is really doing. And you average those together and you're like, oh, I'll get it. All I care about is getting the information from mystery shop and saying, where are we falling down hard? And usually it's in the places that most determine the sale: the greeting, which is easy, and building rapport. We want to cut right to kind of help you find something. And maybe that came back because of COVID, and we've got another video you can check out where I talk about what happened with COVID and how that changed selling styles. But ultimately, that pulling back from the customer at a time, that they're still coming into stores, they still want to be acknowledged, developed, and to feel like it's their store. We're losing that because people have stopped being curious about other human beings. And if you want to combat that, that means, just to refresh, you've got to have training that is understandable. It is applicable to all of your crew. It is built on a framework that builds, that you hold people accountable for it, and you inspect what they're supposed to be doing. Now, if you don't know what they're supposed to be doing, you're just happy to have a sale, then you need to start there. Because ultimately, whether they buy from you or not, you should know that when somebody walks in, you greet them, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, let them look around for a minute, come back and say something to get them into a conversation. To find out more about that, again, watch some of my other videos. You should also subscribe to my videos, which are up above. And I have an offer down below. If you are open to a new strategic way of thinking for your business, for your retail stores, then I encourage you to look down below. You can book a call with me for 15 minutes. We can discuss your strategies, what might work, and how you might do it. If you're just starting, you don't want to start with me. You can read my books, you can read my blogs, check out these other videos, because you have a lot to learn. But the most important thing you have to learn if you're brand new to this is it's all about the customer. There are several retail stores that have an empty chair at their boardroom, which is all about, was this best for our customers? And make no mistake, Amazon, that's all they focus on. They don't care about beating Walmart or somebody else. It's all about, is this good for our customers? Great. How would we back into making it happen? And the last decision is, does this make us money? That's how come they became so big. So the stakes are high. I understand that's why you're watching this video and on your ROI for retail sales training program. I can tell you it's much higher than you think, but if you're still stuck in that pile of money and all it's going to take from you, I think you're really going to struggle to be successful. Because I can tell you who this gal is, who thinks that discounts are the way to go. And friends and family and more promotions the answer. And I can tell you, you can't cut your way to profitability. At some point, you have to invest in your crew. And if you invest in your crew, then the ROI is going to be great with you. And I wish you well on that. And again, I encourage you to make sure you subscribe to my site. And again, check out my other videos down below, because in the end, we're about as successful as we make our minds up to be. You've watched this video so long that you're stuck with a question. Now what? Was it worth your time? If it was, what are you going to do next? If it wasn't, you're not even here. So if you're watching this, get out there and go do something, because I am your #1 cheerleader of brick and mortar stores. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Thanks for watching.